Welcome to Retail Focus, brought to you by 14:59 p.m. Retail Focus provides insightful, timely, and engaging discussions on the latest trends, news, and developments in retail, e-commerce, and technology. We aim to inform and inspire professionals, enthusiasts, and anyone curious about the evolving landscape of these industries. And now, here are your hosts, John Suder and Bart Mroz.
Support for Retail Focus comes from Nerve Tonic Brand. Born in 2012 out of sheer boredom and questionable decisions, Nerve Tonic Brand has somehow defied the odds and logic to become a powerhouse online lifestyle brand. What started as a whim has transformed into a global hub of edgy clothing, snarky accessories, and unapologetic lifestyle essentials for those who prefer their style with a side of sarcasm. Sign up for the newsletter today to score 10% off your first order and stay ahead of the game with exclusive drops and discounts. That's nervetonicbrand.com, your style elixir. Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of Retail Focus. I'm John Suder. I'm here with my co-host, Bart Mroz. Bart,
Hello.
Before we get started today, Bart, why don't you tell me what your one awesome thing is this week?
Awesome thing. I finally set up, I moved finally, from, as you guys know, that happened. But also, finally set up my office. So, somebody owes me posters.
That would be me, sir.
And there's one right here. That's going to go up. But, yeah, you owe me posters, sir. That's my awesome thing right now.
It's on my list. It's on my list. Now that I'm seeing that blank wall, I know I need to fill it. Out of all the darkness, my bright spot is still your Philadelphia Phillies, who are in first place in the NL East. And the other awesome thing is the Braves are 0 for 7.
Wow. Aren't the Dodgers just...
Dodgers are killing it, man. Nobody's going to stop the Dodgers this year, except maybe the Phillies. Anyway, let's start. And one final note before we start. Apologies last week for the poor sound quality. There's a lot of my audio dropped out. I was able to fix some of it, but yeah, my bad. I redid my computer and didn't set things up properly and then jumped right in and recorded a podcast without checking the sound settings. So hopefully we're better.
It happens, my friend. It happens.
It happens. All right. We're going to get to the Captain Obvious story of the week, tariffs. Well, folks, grab your wallets and hold on to your Shopify stores because yesterday a tariff bombshell dropped that's got everyone from Beijing to your basement-based drop shipping empire sweating bullets. On April 2nd, 2025, in a move dubbed Liberation Day, the U.S. government announced a universal baseline 10% tariff on all imports, with some countries facing even heftier reciprocal rates. China gets a 34% reciprocal tariff, escalating to a whopping 54% with additional fentanyl-related duties. Vietnam, a 46% tariff because affordable manufacturing was so last year. Japan, 24% tariff, say sayonara to cheap electronics. South Korea, 25% tariff. I hope you don't like your Kias too much. India, 26% tariff. Goodbye to budget-friendly textiles. Taiwan, 32% tariff. Farewell to inexpensive semiconductors. Thailand, 36% tariff. No more cheap Thai goods for you. And the European Union gets slapped with a 20% reciprocal tariff. Au revoir to affordable French wines. Notably, Russia gets a hall pass despite its trade surplus with the U.S. Also getting a hall pass is North Korea because I don't know why. Canada and Mexico are temporarily spared from new reciprocal tariff structure due to existing fentanyl-related tariffs and continued USMCA compliance exemption. But wait, there's more. The de minimis exemption for Chinese and Hong Kong packages under $800 has been eliminated, targeting those sneaky Chinese e-commerce firms that were exploiting this loophole. And obviously, Apple and Amazon are also reeling with stock prices tumbling and investors panicking over increased costs and disrupted supply chains. And since we're talking about e-commerce on this show, let's talk about dropshippers. What does this mean for our dropshipping bros? Well, if your business model involves shipping cheap gadgets from Guangzhou straight to your customer's back door, I gotta leave that in because everybody's getting in the back door. Those cheap bargain basement prices are about to skyrocket faster than your Facebook ad spend. With tariffs as steep, your profit margins could shrink to the size of a micro SD card. In short, it's time to rethink that easy money drop shipping dream. With these tariffs in place, the golden age of effortlessly flipping cheap imports for fat profits might be coming to an end. Adapt or perish, as they say, or maybe just start looking into domestic suppliers. At least then the shipping times will be faster than a snail on a treadmill. Or maybe, just maybe, it's time to consider that this gold rush may be running out of steam. So how about that? I put this together very quickly this morning because this all happened last night. Good. So the market reacted in obvious fashion. S&P's down 4%. Everything. My 8,9,866.
Dow Jones Dow Jones right now is 3.5. S&P is 4%, 4.09. Nasdaq is down 5.26.
I woke up this morning. I still have my stock trade alerts on for Robinhood for some stupid reason, and I woke up to everything is down. Everything's down between 4 and 8% in my portfolio, so I'm not having a happy day.
I'm just not looking at it at all, my friend. Not looking at it at all.
That is probably the best course of action. Unfortunately, I'm getting to that stage in my life where I need to really start thinking about this stuff, and it's kind of freaking me out. But
yeah, a little bit. Well, let's talk about it. The silliness of this. I mean, when you do tariffs on, you can surgically do them, but across the board, the way this is done is just,
it's a bit slapdash.
It's slapdash. And the way somebody's figuring out how they did the formula, what they think the formula is. And it's basically what they're doing is from what people are looking at, or the actual math, right? They're taking the trade deficit, dividing by imports from that country. And then, so that's the percentage of what the other country is charging us, and then just dividing it by 2, making it reciprocal. That's the math. That's what they're doing.
Wasn't something going around this morning that they think that they just popped in ChatGPT?
No, but that's not actually what the math looks like.
Okay.
They even put the math out there, like the calculation. So basically, if you take, say, the trade deficit of China is 291 billion, they're dividing by what we import, which is 430, and that's equal to 67 of what we are saying that China charges us, which is not actually true. And then just dividing by 2, which is 34%. So that the math is interesting. It's bad math and bad way of doing it. Yeah. I don't know why it's across. I don't know why. It just makes absolutely no sense. The market's going to tank. Now, the only weird saving grace a little bit is that some of that stuff is not automatic. I think there's some of the stuff they're going to try to start next week. Congress is, I think, looks like going to try to step back in. There's plenty of time to negotiate between the countries. So I think that's going to be a lot of that, go back and forth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. You just drop the whole market completely. People are going to freak out, and it's what it is. You kind of have to watch it. The freak out is bad. And I think the favorite part of the story is there's a pair of islands outside of Australia. There's no people that live there, but he put tariffs on them.
Yeah, the penguins.
What are we doing? It's sloppy. All this is sloppy, right? They just took a calculation and threw it in there, right? Yep. My favorite, though, you're going to appreciate it. I saw a picture this morning on Twitter. Somebody look at the actual chart, and the kerning is off on the numbers. That's how detailed these guys are off. That's how bad they're off. So the zeros are just off, and they're not aligned anywhere.
You mean the Doge guys don't know how to do spreadsheets?
I just whoever was printing this. So they're not even doing this, and they're not detailed. And he displayed this at the Rose Garden and is holding it. The whole visual of this thing was just insane. You know what I mean? It's not clean. It's not detailed. It's not just chaos.
I don't want to turn this into a political discussion.
I don't either. I'm just saying that's what we see, right?
Let me shift gears. The purpose of this, and I am not defending this in any way, but it's supposed to make the country better, because then it will shift manufacturing from overseas to here. But what people, especially the Facebook jockeys, are going to be quiet again. People don't realize that it takes 5 to 10 years to spin up a factory, if they even want to do it. Then you have the labor, all that other stuff. But we're talking 5 to 10 years before any of this has any type of positive effect. All it's going to result in now is just a lot of people with less money in their pocket.
Well, I mean, also like, if the prices rise, do you think companies going to lower prices? Even if we have manufacturing here?
Prices never go back down.
That is fantasy. That's fantasy.
Pure fantasy.
It's fantasy. So like, let's look at from that perspective, but also like, okay, let's look at logistics of this. So you want to build a factory here. Do you know where the raw materials have to come from? That's all like raw materials to build the factory. We don't have the tooling. We don't have the people to work these.
Bro, trust me, there's a lot of lithium in Pennsylvania.
Like it makes no sense. We're such a, like, people are so trying to be just be in here. It's like the world is global. Technology has changed that.
Yeah, we're become an isolationist country. And now what is happening? Other trade partners are teaming up. China's
going to step in and take all that work.
Japan, no, China. Was it China, North Korea, and Japan?
No, South Korea. South Korea.
I'm sorry. China, South Korea, and Japan, they're forming a trade thing. Now, I read between the lines in some Reddit threads that basically that's what Asian politicians do. They all bullshit to each other, and that's like a thing.
Yeah, but that's also
that sounds
unheard
a
of.
bad signal to the rest of the world.
No, those three countries is absolutely the craziest part that's actually happening.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is now we are the U.S. is no longer a trusted trading partner because people aren't going to trust anything what we have to say because we're pulling, okay.
Go ahead.
I listen.
Don't go to. I mean, listen. It's true, right? Like the dollar's falling, which is a problem, right? We're not going to be the top. It's just it's the trading stuff is going to be just crazy because all these other people who and you know what's going to get hurt really, really fast. Really, like the first people that are going to farmers.
Oh, absolutely,
farmers, because there's going to be no trade between all these. Like one of our biggest exports to China is soybeans. They're not going to take that. They're going to go somewhere else. So it's tariffs work for certain things. We use tariffs all the time for that kind of stuff for very specific things. But to use it bluntly, that's not.
It's not pragmatic.
No.
I mean, it's, as you said, it's very sloppy, very slapdash.
Slapdash, and it's sloppy. It's throwing stuff, it's, I don't know. He announced it at 4 after the market close. And after hours, we were renewed this morning. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Because after hour trading, you're like, oh my God.
So I have one stat here, tariffs delete $2 trillion from the stock market in an hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're at 11:30 Eastern time on April 3rd. And it hasn't stabilized yet. I was trying to run in my...
No, it's not going to stabilize for a bit. I mean, it's all right. It's kind of slowing down.
Well, yeah, usually it dips around lunch. It slows down around lunchtime, and then guys come back from lunch and they're like, okay, bye, because they're all, you got your short sellers, you got your...
Oh, it's going to be... Yeah.
The problem is the only people that are going to have money to buy stocks are the people who already have money. So,
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, listen, here's that. Let's take a little different thing. If he keeps them and does it, like every economist, we all know, like we look at this all the time and education wise, like you see it and look at it from economics, you're like, this is going to be bad. This is just power stealing. Now, here's the thing. If this works and he pushes it and it actually works, okay. We're all wrong. I'm happy to admit it was wrong.
I'm happy to be wrong. And I've been saying that since January. I'm like,
but from what we know and have seen and how experienced multiple times now and how global markets work and how globalization works, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like we've seen this over and over. And now, and the industries we're in, now most of Europe, rest of the world is going, we're not going to do services with you, or we're going to do taxes crazy about services. That's what happens with outsourcing. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. Now there's a whole bunch of other things that are going on, I think, around this is that, people are like, oh, companies are coming back. Bigger companies are trying to build stuff here. But if you look at what kind of companies are coming here, it is a different story, right? Because if you think about it, like car manufacturers who have electric cars that need power or anything to do with power, like having actual energy. We're still the most producer of energy and the most stable producer of energy, right? So the reason you would want to build a factory here from overseas or anywhere else, because we're stable of energy, right? That's literally it. And most of these industries now need more power and energy all the time. So like, that's the weird civilization of that. But if tariffs are kicking in, who really wants to do that?
Yeah. Like I said, I threw this script together pretty early this morning, so I didn't really dig as deep, but
there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack, and there's a lot that the other shoe I do not feel has dropped. And as you said, some of this may be rolled back. Hopefully some cooler heads will prevail at some point, but I haven't seen it yet. We don't know what's going to happen.
Although in other news, you can buy Apple really cheap right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to buy some good stocks, Apple or Amazon, it's great.
Apple, Google. I mean, Apple just dropped almost 9%.
Amazon's down like 8%. I mean, it's good for bargain hunters, but, a lot of us don't have money right now because, and the ones that have money are holding on to it. I know a lot of my friends that do like drop shipping and all that kind of online shit. They're going, where's everybody at? It's, people are holding on to their wallets. It's like you think, okay, Christmas, January's bad. Christmas is good. That's when you make your money. Then January's quiet. Everyone regroups. And then February, you come back. You got Valentine's Day. You got Easter. You got nothing. Everything is just completely flat. It's the Wild West out there again, kids.
Yep. Moving on.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Zelle app. What's a digital native to do? All right, folks, I got news that might sting you a little bit. Our old pal Zelle, yes, the OG payment app is officially kicking the bucket on April 1st. It's already passed. No, that's not an April Fool's joke. Apparently, Zelle had its best year ever in 2024, but don't let that fool you. They're pulling the plug on the standalone app. Why? Because only a measly 2% of Zelle transactions actually happen there. The rest are tucked away inside those behemoth banking apps. So what does this mean for you, the average Zelle user? Well, if you're already living that integrated banking life, you probably won't even notice. But if you're one of those cool kids who doesn't have a bank account with a Zelle partner, tough luck, kid. Time to find a new way to split that pizza bill. But don't despair, the digital payment universe is vast and varied. We've got Venmo for the social butterflies, PayPal for the online shopping addicts, and Cash App for, whatever the hell Cash App is for these days. Plus, we can't forget the fancy NFC wallets like Apple Pay and Google Pay, because we all love a good tap-to-pay moment. And get this, Zelle claims this whole thing is about enhanced security and fraud prevention. Maybe they're tired of being the go-to app for scammers. Either way, the Zelle app is fading into the digital sunset. R.I.P. Zelle app, you will be mildly missed. Now, if you excuse me, I need to find a way to guilt my friends into paying me back for that baseball tickets. Any suggestions? I never use Zelle, or I never.
What is Zelle?
Zelle, Z-E-L-L.
What is a Zelle app?
Like,
just to be clear,
I think it was.
It was banks owned it. That's why you saw it. Yeah, no, banks owned it. There's some owning thing. That's why you saw it. Yeah,
Swedish company.
Yeah, but a whole bunch of banks used it
about this years ago.
Yeah.
2017. Yes, we did do a podcast about this. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So they're part of banking all over the place. I don't know. It's funny that a lot more people don't use like Apple Pay for even transferring to friends because it's one of the easiest things to use.
Sure.
A lot of people still do use Venmo, which is hilarious to me because we know exactly where it started. You know what I mean? Like friends started, like I was sitting in the room when he did it. So that's like a weird connection to Venmo. Good for them. I mean, they sold it and all that kind of stuff, but Venmo's probably the most popular out there. But Apple Pay for just the wallet to wallet is really easy to do, which I love.
I'm starting to see a lot more people use the pay by phone option. Like you're sitting at a restaurant and then they hand the waiter the phone and he walks away and goes, I would know.
Oh, everybody does. Yeah, I've seen it both ways. Well, because it's cash back, right? Like if you use your Apple Pay thing.
That is why I use my Apple Card all the time because of the cash back. And then I take that savings and I use that to pay my balance on my card. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's Zelle. got any more comments on that?
I wonder if that's going to be a lot more happening to what people use, right? Because how many more things do we need to be paid?
Yeah, and like we just said, the tap to pay is really gaining traction. I mean, it took me a minute to catch on to that because I'm just weird. I'm old fashioned, I guess. I don't carry cash, but I still like whipping out my debit card. So.
Yeah, my favorite though is like if you do a drive-through, I like use my app like sometimes to drive through, and I just use my card and I don't tap it. I always forget. And I give him my Apple card, and it's not because it doesn't have the tap on it. You have to use your phone. Kind of hilarious. Every time they're like, it's not working. You have to actually stick it in.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When I first got my Apple card, it was the white metal card.
Yeah,
I was in Florida when I got it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just pay for all my transactions out and about with the card, and then I'll reconcile when I get home. People were taking this card and they're like, what the hell is this? You know, and the thing is, it's white. So if you lay it on top of the check and you wait for somebody to come get your card, they can't see it.
Yeah. It doesn't also, by the way, this is like a weird problem to have. So like I have an Amex card. It's also metal. The Apple card is also metal. I have a corporate card from the company I work for. That's metal. So my wallet all of a sudden is like, I want to just go back to plastic cards again because there's like this thing, which is basic cards.
And you go through metal detectors.
Now, but I got to say, when you drop them, they all make a different sound. It's kind of hilarious. Like the Apple card has a very specific sound because it's titanium, right?
Titanium would go, it sounds like a clangy kind of sound.
Yeah. Like all the other ones, they're just basic metal. The only one that makes, I think, a different sound is the black card, which I've seen, which is always interesting. But they all have different sounds.
I heard when you drop the black card, it's like the trumpets from the heaven. That's what it sounds like.
No. It's very specific. I've seen it. There's no way I will ever have one, but which is in itself funny.
All right, our next episode, we're going to do the drop test with our metal cards. Okay. It's going to be an ASMR podcast
of card dropping. All right. Here we go.
Final story for today. QVC Layoffs. The saga of questionable impulse buys and bedazzled everything is taking another turn. It seems like QVC, in its infinite wisdom, or perhaps budgetary constraints, is giving HSN the old heave-ho. That's right. They're downsizing, streamlining, synergizing, whatever corporate buzzword you want to use, and a whole lot of people are getting the axe. About 900 jobs between Florida and good old Pennsylvania are going bye-bye. Now, before you start shedding a tear for the host who convinced your grandma that she needed that ceramic cat collection, let's be real. Home shopping is like so last century. QVC, which bought HSN back in 2017, is consolidating everything at its headquarters in Pennsylvania. Apparently, even QVC thinks having two channels hawking the same discounted crap is a bit too much. But this isn't just about layoffs, it's about the bigger picture. What is the future of home shopping? Are we destined to be endlessly scrolling through TikTok shops bombarded by micro-influencers shilling teeth whitening kits? Will our algorithms eventually know us so well that they just send us stuff we didn't even know we wanted? Like some dystopian personalized junk mail service? Maybe. Or maybe we're on the verge of something even weirder. AI-generated hosts perfectly tailored to our demographics, selling us products based on our deepest, darkest desires. It's terrifying, but also efficient. Maybe. I'm not saying I'm going to miss the forced enthusiasm and overly scripted surprises of live home shopping, but there was a certain charm to it, a kind of low-stakes entertainment that's hard to find these days. Now it seems like we're all just going to be the mercy of the algorithm. So pour one out for old HSN folks, because whether we like it or not, retail as we know it is changing, and probably not for the better. Now, if you excuse me, I have to suddenly buy a ceramic dachshund wearing a tiny hat. Don't judge me. I know people who still watch QVC all the time.
Yeah.
True story.
Huh. So John, how long ago we were the first article about online shopping? I'm going
to say probably 10 years.
Yeah, right. And we kind of followed up all the time, and we kind of didn't. And then the first idea I had was like, why not do Shopify with Facebook and stuff like that? And just do it.
We built all the little UI mock-ups and did all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And now there's stuff out there, right? TikTok Shop itself, obviously. I mean, Saturday might be the end of that. We'll see. Because because that's the deadline, which is so much fun. With the other one, Micmac used to be around. We Shop or We something now. It's out there. Like people are doing it.
Don had the live shopping.
Yeah, I think proliferation. It's all the Asian markets that did it, right? Because they were doing all the live shopping and streaming and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I think TikTok was the one that took off. Like that's the one that did it. It wasn't really. I mean, there was live stuff, but really that's where it kind of started. People got used to it, right? Being sold to through influencers and doing that. So, also the market's dying. Like who watches TV?
Yeah.
You're not going to go to QVC. Like who watches actual TV? Like that's just going away. So not going away, but like who actually watches this? It's older people, right?
It's older people.
Yeah. I mean, people who are used to watching QVC and things like that and buy cheap stuff online. Or off of TV. Who is watching QVC and then calling them to order something?
I know someone who does that. But also, what I see with these people who order from these things, they go, "Oh, I got this XYZ gadget," and I go like this. I pull out the phone and I go, "Yeah, here it is on Amazon for $12." Why?
Yeah, I think. Well, also, I got to say that I think that Temu and stuff like that has replaced it, a lot of it. People who are even older, they have it on their phone. They're like, "Oh, this is $1. I can buy it."
And that's the prototypical impulse, plus Temu gamifies, oh, spin the wheel, you win $100 worth of goods. And it's like, well, yeah, $100 worth of crap. Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, QVC, there used to be like a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like long time ago. Now it's like, are you buying that anymore?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And they try to incorporate, I'm going to defend them a little bit, but they try to incorporate at least some entertainment aspects into it. They have personalities. They have, tips and tricks and things you can learn. But
that doesn't, like, that changes with the short version of TikTok, right? TikTok Shop, people who are joining affiliate to doing that. But then you also have live shopping, like actual live shopping on TikTok now too, right? People are trying to move it to the app, but this is where that's the golden thing.
Yeah, and the TikTok stuff is actually pretty entertaining. I mean, some of the user generated content is actually pretty good. I mean, you don't need high production. Your phone cameras are pretty spectacular. Even a cheap one now is good enough for that. And if you got a sense of humor, or even if you got a little bit of writing skill, you don't have to put your face in there. You can write a nice little ad and display products and make some money with it. I think it's really great.
I've seen some good ones lately. People get creative about it now. It's not like just buy this product. I mean, like there's more of that. I think people are just, it's not about the quality of the shot anymore. You don't need crazy amount of stuff to do a good thing. And it went back to what we always said. Content is content, The way you produce it doesn't matter what the message actually is.
Yeah, the content. If the content is good and the price point,
it doesn't matter what you're shooting on.
It doesn't matter what you're shooting on. I could shoot it right here on my desk, and
especially with phones being this good, you don't need big production studios anymore. The cost of think about QVC studios and all that kind of stuff. The amount of cost that is.
Remember when they built that campus up in Westchester? I was there. That place was.
Well, our buddy Seth worked there. That's where he came from.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I went there for something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was really impressive. I mean, all the sound stages and studios and things, you don't need that anymore. It's like green screen if you want to have, okay, do a green.
No, and you think about that about ages, I would buy something that's more authentic from that than just buying something from very well, crazy produced, right?
Because you know that the cost of production is being built into the cost of goods.
Yeah, absolutely. But it also it makes it feel better. Hey, it's like if you send me oh, dude, this mic is awesome, right? This is great. I love using this mic. It's just give it, right? It's the whole friendly thing part of it.
Yeah, that's really good. We should do a segment on that. That's really interesting. That's an interesting point in that authenticity in content is what sells.
Yeah, especially if you follow people on social media and they're entertaining and you kind of know what's going on with them and but it's talking to a friend, right?
Hey, buy this Hustle Juice mug. Buy it on my shop, nervetonicbrand.com.
No, I agree. It's like, hey, I recommend this because I've loved this thing. It's just like the whole idea of being personal. It's like your buddy talking to you.
I can't tell you the amount of money I've spent on things that you recommended to me. So
I know. But they're all good, right? It's like I do that same thing, right?
you're bad for my bank account.
You're welcome. But still, like even the stand, like the little tripod I have, that's off of TikTok, but it's useful. The new microphones I got to travel with, the little tiny small rigs, that was all over
the same
TikTok.
thing. You have the adapter that plugs into the port, and then you have the little clip-on.
Yeah, and they're great.
And it was like $50. It's great. It's got the little
They work
on it and everything. Fantastic.
Yeah. But I saw it once, and I was like, oh, interesting. And I saw it multiple times, and I'm like, well, this works. There it is. Anyway, sir.
Anyway, but with the tariffs, all that stuff may be more expensive. So anyway, we'll check back on that. But that's it for this week. We hope you learned something, but if not, at least you wasted some time. We'll be back next week with more questionable advice and unsolicited opinions. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. If you prefer the video experience, you can check out our YouTube channel. And lastly, check us out on the socials. We are on Bluesky, Twitter, and Facebook. Sign up for our newsletter where you get extended show recaps and behind-the-scenes info on the show. Links are in the show notes. Bart, closing thoughts. We got 1 minute left.
Deep breath. Deep
breaths, meditate. Self-care is where it's at this week, kids. Everyone take care of yourself. And until next time, may your internet be fast, your video calls be clear, and your mute button always work when you need it most.
What do you do now?